Hello and welcome to the 100 Podcast. I'm Dan, your mountain man, and today I am discussing my very first reactions to Season 5, Episode 6, Exit Wounds. This was a really great episode. I actually think this is my favorite episode of the season so far. I thought there was just a lot of really good character moments, and they let things, they let the pace flow a little more naturally. I didn't feel like we were jumping from thing to thing as intensely, even though I missed people like Raven and Shaw and Abby and stuff. I actually felt like focusing more just directly on the bunker stuff, at least like a little smattering of Dioza and stuff, was the right call. It made things feel, just a little bit looser. I was really, really happy to get more of the two things that I felt like this season needed more of, which was Echo and Clark with Maddie. And I think that both Echo and Maddie got a lot of really solid stuff in this episode, which made me really happy. What felt nice and fresh to me is that even though we still saw things of like Clark and Bellamy's dynamic and relationship in this episode, they both had other things that they cared about that weren't just about each other. So like whether you wanted to bring it to like the Echo versus Clark thing, you can, but I'm just more like they have, to me, a lot of the Bellamy stuff was about his relationship with Octavia. Clark also really cares about Maddie. So it was about them being like, we have other priorities too, and we're gonna go off in these directions. And I thought that was really nice. I think it was really good to see more of Clark in this mama bear role with Maddie, her intelligence of trying to hide the Nightblood stuff from everybody. I really like the interplay in this Maddie storyline between Nyla coming back, thank God, and Gaia. I think that it's interesting because they sort of had a metatextual thing with Nyla where she's like, oh, Clark, why were you avoiding me? Sort of like, I guess, retroactively explaining why we hadn't seen Nyla in a while. And I guess you're supposed to maybe see that as Clark knew that maybe Nyla would figure out that Maddie was a Nightblood. But the idea that Nyla was suddenly like an antagonist we had to worry about, I thought was really cool. And then having Gaia come in and be like an ally for Clark, but also be sort of like he had been so on Octavia's side, but now he potentially would be championing Maddie. And all that interplay was great. I think that Maddie, not listening to Clark and ending up and going to Octavia was in some ways like a grown, oh kid, you causing problems move. But in other ways, like it made sense. Her motivations were good. I think the acting was good from her. And ultimately it leaves with like a very ominous thing of like, oh, Octavia's taking her under her wing. It's gonna be okay, right, Clark? Right? No, she's not happy. Meanwhile, yeah, I love the stuff with Echo. I think that they showed her being a really dynamic person here. They showed her growth with her not wanting to sacrifice these people, but they also still showed her skill set as a spy. And I especially love the thing at the end where she kept the device in the wound. She just has so much intelligence, and the actress has so much charisma. I think they did a really good job in this episode of actually making me buy Bellamy and Echo having a relationship, them caring about each other. I still think, obviously, there's some weirdness there of sort of just throwing them, into this relationship off screen as like a ship issue. But at the same time, at least now it feels more layered. We're getting more of Echo beyond just that. And I'm excited to see where they go with it. I'm still of the opinion that she is not going to last the whole season, but I at least hope that if that's true, that if they keep going in this direction, that maybe it'll be a good death and maybe it'll be good development out of it. Meanwhile, I also like that Octavia was not giving her like a total pass and brought up the reasons why she wouldn't with Gina and Ilian and all that stuff. I do really like when the show is respectful of its history and doesn't just kind of slide things under the rug. Octavia, it was also really good this episode. I think that her as a leader and as a like quote unquote villain in this episode did a really great job. Like there's an ominousness to her, there's a freakiness to her, but she still has like logic. She's not just like, I'm a villain. Like she listens to people, even if she doesn't listen all the time, even if she goes against them, you can see where she's coming from to a certain degree. And in a lot of ways, it's really interesting seeing the dynamic between her and Dioza because they're really not that different. And so we kind of have like these two different antagonists this season who are both just very well written antagonists. And are antagonizing each other, and so we have our protagonists in the middle. We have two other antagonists, and it feels kind of fresh in a way that I didn't expect. Meanwhile, we also had some really interesting stuff with Amori and Murphy. I really like the evolution of Amori as a raven in training, an intelligent young woman ready to break all the electric collars off and blow them up. It was fun getting to see them defeat some of Dios's people, though of course that's not going to very much ingratiate them with Dioza, so we'll see where that goes. And it was really good to see the dynamics of their relationship. I think that they've done a really good job this season making Murphy and Amori a complex character dynamic, and they had a nice positive reconnection here, but they're still not back together, and you can see the depths of what they went through over those 6 years. And I think that in general, this season's done a pretty strong job showing how much characters have shifted over that 6 year time gap. I still am a little sad watching Amori and Murphy because I'm like, but what about Raven? And so now just my little side ship of wanting all three of them together, because let's just go for that. Because, he was jealous of Raven and Amori. He clearly has chemistry with Raven. It's just, let's just bring all the cool people together. Let's make it happen. Otherwise, it will be interesting to see their dynamic now with McCreary being the one potentially tortured and in hostage situation. How much does Dioza actually care about him, and what will that lead to? Yeah, so those are my basic thoughts. There was definitely a lot more going on in this episode that I'm excited to talk about in our full audio podcast, which will be up later this week. I do that with my girlfriend Olga, and you can check that out on the100podcast.com. We're now on SoundCloud, so you can check us out on SoundCloud and all the other fun podcast services. So check that out later in the week. I'll also tweet about it at the100podcast over on the Twitters. And if you want to see more of our videos like this, please subscribe over on youtube.com/doingok. Leave us comments down below. We'll include your feedback in the audio podcast because we like to have a little two-way conversation. So thank you guys so much for watching, and maybe we meet again.